Hello everyone, today we will discuss the first topic of economics, which is opportunity cost, the most fundamental factor that explain how individuals, businesses, and entire economies to make their decisions. So a brief introduction of myself. My name is Elise. I'm from the program department of Genius Star Business Club, and I go to separate school, Vietnam. Here's an overview of what's going to be covered in today's video. The cost of choice, free goods, the basic economic questions, means of answering the economic questions, market versus government intervention, and economics and the three economic systems, the free market economy, planned economy, and mixed economy. Let's get started. So first, what do you think is opportunity cost? Let's take a look at this example. Mike is trying to decide whether to spend the money he has right now on buying the newest limited edition trainers or to save it to buy a laptop in the future. If Mike chooses to save his money, his opportunity cost is missing out a chance to buy his favorite trainers. However, by saving, he could be able to afford the laptop to improve his future studies and work productivity. In today's world, scarcity is the root problem of economics. Because resources are limited, we are forced to make choices. This leads us to the concept of opportunity cost. So, the definition of opportunity cost is the value of the next best alternative that is giving up in order to get something else. Opportunity cost applies to consumers, workers, firms, and governments when they make decisions. However, it is not always monetary or physical things, but it can also be time, effort, etc. After understanding about opportunity cost, let's move on to free goods and economic goods, the two fundamental types of goods. So free goods are goods that are abundant in supply and have zero opportunity cost. They are not bought or sold because they are available to everyone for free. Common examples could be air, rainwater, or sunlight. However, free goods can be limited over time due to environmental degradation, population growth, high demand, and ownership regulations. So when this happens, they become economic goods. An example could be fresh water, which was once easily available for free from wells and rivers, has now become overused and polluted. So clean water has become limited. Today, many people have to buy bottled water or pay for water treatment, so water has become an economic good. Economic goods are goods that are scarce, have an opportunity cost, and therefore require payment to obtain. Some examples could be car, clothes, or gold. Now, coming to the basic economic questions. Here are the three economic questions. Number one, what and how much to produce. Number two, how to produce. And number three, for whom to produce for. For example, your business is selling bubble tea. You must first decide what and how much to produce, such as how many cups to make and what flavor to offer. Next, you must decide how to produce, such as by manual labor or by machines. Finally, you must decide for whom to produce for, such as targeting young consumers who enjoy bubble tea and are able to afford to buy it. Because resources are limited, as I said before, businesses cannot produce everything. These resources are called the factors of production, including land, labor, capital, and enterprise. Land here refers not only to physical land, but also to things such as soil, forest, water, and minerals. Labor plays a vital role in production because it requires both physical and mental effort, as people apply their knowledge and skills to produce the goods or services. Businesses also need capital, which is the money or equipment they use to produce the products, like machines or computers. And finally, enterprise means the effort and the willingness of a person to start and take risks in a business. An entrepreneur uses land, labor, and capital to produce goods or services, makes important decisions, and tries to earn profit. Choosing one option always means giving up another. This is an opportunity cost. Businesses uses the basic economic questions to make the best use of limited resources, reduce opportunity costs, and identify priorities such as the right material and the right customers. For example, if your bubble tea businesses use the money to produce bubble tea instead of coffee, it gives them a chance to produce coffee, which could be cheaper. However, because consumers prefer bubble tea, you should produce bubble tea to maximize the benefits. Let's see how the societies answer these three basic economic questions in two main ways, which are through market and government intervention. In a market system, decisions are made by consumers and businesses. Prices are decided by demand and supply. What to produce is decided by customer demand. If many people want a product, the price goes up. And if many people does not want it, the price goes down. This fact will be further explained in the lesson about supply and demand later. Wait, how to produce is decided by competition and cost. This means that goods and businesses aim to maximize the profits, so they choose the most efficient and lowest cost methods. For whom to produce is decided by pricing mechanisms, meaning that the goods goes to the people who can afford to buy for it and are willing to pay for it. In a government intervention, the government controls or influences the economy, so they may set prices, provide public services such as free education or healthcare, control industries, impose taxes, and provide subsidies. Government intervention is important when a market fails, such as when a company pollutes the environment or exploit workers. So lastly, let's talk about the three economic systems. So by economic systems, we mean that the way of how society organizes resources to satisfy people's needs and wants, and answer the three economic questions. There are three main types of economic systems, and let's talk about the first one, which is free market economy. Free market economy is a economy where private individuals and businesses make decisions instead of having to rely on government intervention. The characteristics of this type of economy are private ownership of properties and businesses, little government intervention, prices are set by demand and supply, profit motive, competition between firms, and freedom of choice for consumers and producers. So by looking at this image, you could see a farmer that owns his own stalls and business. The government does not control his business, and he decides the prices based on demand and supply. This represents private ownership. The customers can choose whether to buy from him or his competitors, representing the freedom of choice of consumers and competition. So in the USA, it is a largely free market economy, although it is still mixed. So in the USA, Starbucks is a private company that's owned by shareholders, not the government. It decides what drinks to sell, how many stores to open, and how much to charge for its products. Starbucks aims to make profits, so it creates new products and improves its services. It competes with other coffee shops like Dunkin's or local cafes. So this type of economic system would offer innovation and efficiency. It offers a wide variety of goods and services. Consumers could have more choices. The businesses could respond quickly to demand, and high motivation for work and invest. However, it could lead to income inequality. Poor people may be neglected. Public goods may be underprovided. Monopolies may form, and economic instability. Second, let's talk about planned economy, where government owns and controls most resources. The characteristics of planned economy are the government ownership of industries, central planning authority, no or little private businesses, prices are set by the government, production targets, and limited consumer choices. Let's take a look at this example of planned economy, which is in China. In China, it has a strong government planning and control in its key industries, like the State Grid Corporation, which is a government-owned company that provides electricity to most of the country. It is owned and controlled by the government, not private businesses. So the government would decide how much electricity to produce, where the power stations are built, and how many people would pay for the electricity. The main aim is to provide stable services for everyone, not just profit. So let's talk about the pros and cons of this type of economy. So a planned economy would offers equal distribution of income, basic needs are provided for all, no extreme poverty, stable prices, and it focuses on national goals. However, this type of economy have some disadvantages such as the lack of motivation and innovation, inefficiency and waste, shortages or surpluses, limited choices for consumers, and slow decision making. Finally, we have mixed economy, which is a hybrid of both free market and planned economy, where the government and its sectors work together to make decisions. The characteristics of mixed economy include both private and public ownership, government regulates some industries, market forces determine many prices, public services provided by the government, welfare and social support, and some freedom of choice. So, an example could be Grab in Singapore. Grab is a company that is owned by private investors and works to make profit. It decides its own prices based on demand, such as higher fares and peak hours. At the same time, the Singapore government also regulates transport services and provide public health and education and also set strict business laws. The government also controls taxi and ride-hailing rules to protect passengers and drivers. So private businesses operate freely, but the government also plays a strong role in managing its key important services. This shows that Singapore follows a mixed economy. So the advantages of the mixed economy are that it balances between efficiency and fairness, it protects vulnerable people, it prevents monopolies, it provides public goods to the society, and it encourages business growth. The disadvantages of mixed economy are the government rules may reduce efficiency, high taxes, possible corruption, conflicts between public and private interests, and it can be expensive to run. So, overall, we have talked about scarcity, which forces people and societies to make choices, and every choice could involve an opportunity cost. Goods can either be free or economic goods based on scarcity. All economies must answer that what, how, and for whom to produce for to and to maximize the benefits of a business. Decisions are made through market or government intervention, and there are three main types of economic systems, which are the free, planned, and mixed economy. Thank you so much for spending your time and see you next time.